it should go.
I don't see.
Setting
There
up.
it is. There it is. We are live on Facebook.
Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome back. It's been a little bit, but now we are back with an amazing show. Yes, David, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you? How are you, Rich? Great to see you guys. You're back.
I'm excited to talk to somebody that we know for a long time now, but also someone that's been doing like front and center lots of work.
Amazing work.
Of course, it's Nanor. Let's let everybody kind of come on. Nanor John, thank you for joining us. David, I don't know if you want to do an intro or.
Sure, yeah, we're really fortunate to be joined by Nanor Balabanian, a dear friend, someone who was in the Bay Area for 15 years, right, Nanor? 15 years, wasn't it?
15 years, yeah.
15 years in the Bay Area, dear friend, and who has just been on the front line, like you mentioned, Greg, in Armenia, repatriated on September 26th, a day before the war started, and then just jumped right in to help provide support to soldiers. And of course, she's founder of Hidden Road Initiative, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And we're really grateful to have you with us, Nanor. And we are raising money tonight for your very initiative, Hidden Road Initiative. Welcome to Arach Media. Thank you so much for being here.
And
thank you for having me. Yeah, I still remember when we first had our first interview. It was like the very first week of the war, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes. There was does it seem to you like millions of years have passed? Because for me, it's like the way that time has been. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it feels for me. I've kind of, it's almost weird, but it feels like I've blocked that few months off my memory. I think that mind sometimes does that when terrible things happen. You just block it off. Obviously not. I remember things, but every once in a while I'm like, what do I? There's nothing I can do. What happened? What happened? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's common for a lot of us. I think we go through this fight or flight thing, and our brains just I mean, I find myself doing that periodically, especially throughout the war. I mean, certainly I was at a heightened state of awareness and a heightened state of trying to get things done. But there is a level of like just sort of blocking things out that I don't know about anybody else, but that's how I was able to maintain. I mean, it's just really the only way to do it.
And
I want to show you guys Armenia really quick.
Oh, please, yes.
Really, really heavy snow, but it just started melting. But I just want to show you, what is it, Thursday today? Thursday morning in Armenia.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
While I throw a key through a sock.
To a friend. Hey, Yerevan.
This is how life in Armenia works. And then you say, Lodi, I'm throwing you the key. And then you throw the key. And then they yeah, this is live from Armenia. This is Saryan Bohots. There's a lot of great cafes over there. And then
which way is in Vino?
Houses over here, and then really these old buildings. I think there's like the Stalin buildings, which are the 5-story ones, and then there's these tall buildings, which are not Stalin. I don't know what they are. Lenin.
Well, I mean, like I know where you got that, because in FYI, the guy that was born in Soviet Union, me here, a lot of the buildings in old Soviet cities are named by the decades of the regimes that they were built in. So, for example, when someone says, I live in a Stalin building, that means I live in a building built during Stalin's time. Or like I live in a Brezhnev building or a Gorbachev building. That means that because, everything was mass planned. Okay, sorry.
I want to show you the other side, and that's very interesting history. I didn't actually think about that. The other side has the sun, which is so beautiful. So you need to see that before we start. Give me a second. This is my balcony.
Nice.
Now look at that.
Yay. Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hello?
Yeah. We see
oh
it.
No. Can you guys see it?
We got it.
Okay, go. It's a beautiful morning. We haven't had the sun for a very long time, so this is really nice. We just got sun.
Awesome.
And snow is melting, and we can finally go to villages. If you have village projects, you understand it's very difficult to go up anywhere when the snow.
Or I guess well, first of all, let's we can address everybody that's listening to us. Thank you for joining. Make sure to what do you call it? Well, you're already subscribing. Donate if you can to the fundraiser that we're kind of highlighting right now. It's an initiative that Nanor started. You know, you have the founder right in front of you. Nanor, I guess we can just like jump in, like give us a little you know, update would be like a very long-winded thing to say, but what give us the what's what right now. What how are things on the ground in Yerevan? You mentioned villages, right? What's the general mood in Armenia? What are the top of mind priorities currently? Like we said, we just talked about like how it's been already like it seems like years have passed, but you know, it's been 3 months, 4 months max, you know.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's happening?
That's a really tough question because I don't even know if I know what's happening. I think what happened whenever someone asks me, how are you from the States or anyone who wasn't here the last 3 months,
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, the only thing I can do is want to cry. So I try to avoid that question or the question of what happened, because if I think about what happened, I can't really talk about it normally. What happened was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I think beyond what our brain could have comprehended, probably kind of like in World War II when they had never seen any kind of warfare like they had seen at that time. But I think what was different about this was how alone we were, which sometimes kind of can lead to the feeling of helplessness if you get stuck in that feeling. But oops, the electricity.
Oh, really? That could happen.
Weird. Okay. So yeah, what happened was, I think just the pain was unbelievable. So right now the nation is in a time of healing. Everyone is in pain. I think things are getting a little better in terms of the pain element, because it was so much and so heavy, and it still is. There's so many missing soldiers. There's even missing women, people I know from, or I've heard about from Lebanon, who are missing, like Maral, whose family members, friends. And so this whole like eerie feeling of what's happening now. And, you know, you hear a lot of airplanes on the floor, on the sky. You're like, okay, what is happening? Are they taking more weapons? Are they doing a lot more drills? You don't know. So there's like this eerie feeling of, when there's too much peace, there's almost like this scared feeling that you have of like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's about to happen? So we don't know. I don't want to make up any theories or speculate, but it's a weird feeling of healing, eeriness, and also trying to move forward. Like concerts have opened, clubs have opened, music venues, restaurants were open already, but people are actually going to these things because they're tired of just living in despair and pain and COVID and these things. I think art is actually really developing at the moment because it's like the only medium to really, or one of the mediums to heal. So performances are, you know, always have a tie-in to what's going on. Movies have a tie-in to what's going on. Concerts have a tie-in to what's going on. So all these avenues are giving people some way to kind of also heal from what's going on.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Nanor. Nanor, tell us about how you just jumped right in. On September 26th, you're there. September 27th, you were already getting involved. And then from, let's start with that. Just tell us how you've been involved since the start of the war and how that's progressed till now.
Yeah. Okay. So when I first started, when I came, my original goal was to just go to Arach, which is one of the villages that Hidden Road Initiative supports, and to start a learning center. But of course, right when I came, the war started, and I felt that there was more other important priorities. So in the beginning, I was just volunteering with the volunteers at Kamera Tadron, which is like a theater group where lots of actors hang out in and perform in, and they're amazing. Rafael Yeranosian hosted it, and he was just unbelievable. pretty soon we had 300-400 volunteers working every single day, morning to 4 a.m. And Artsakh families just pouring in, like pouring with buses every day. We would get, I don't know, hundreds, 1,000 families, I believe, every day for about 30 days. By the end, they served around 30,000 people, not families, I believe. And it was unbelievable. I mean, it wasn't even an NGO, it was just a theater. But with social media, what they did is they would have their phone and say, okay, who has a house? And whoever had a house would give them a house. And then they would match the Artsakh family in that house, put them in that house, give them food, clothing, shelter. We had stations for all of them. One by one, they'd go and get all the food. It was unbelievable. So I was working with children because I noticed they came with lots of trauma and they were crying and, they just left the war. And so we created this kind of safe room. And then from there, we moved on. COVID struck really hard. So Kamera Tadron stopped a month after working. And we had to work in that conditions. I don't regret how we worked. It was emergency mode. So everyone had to run around doing whatever they could to help. But COVID got worse. So things kind of stopped. And then there was a lull, and that's when Vahe Koshgarian, who is a winemaker, he makes Kush wine and so many other names of wines. And he is just an amazing man. He started Impact Hub here, or co-founded the Yerevan Report. And he noticed the need for people that didn't have shelter and said, we need to make shelters for these guys. Like Sotsap, the Ministry of Social Services, literally could not. There were so many people who were coming, there was no space, and the ministry wasn't ready to host them. They weren't equipped in any way to take care of this many people. So local people helped, of course, like Kamera Tadron. And then there's other people who partnered with the ministry, like Vahe, and it's like, hey, I'll help you guys. What do you need? So there's these tons of people coming. So he said, okay, I'm going to rent out this hotel, or I'm going to pay the bills for this place. And so we started hosting about 14 shelters. Well, it started with one, and then next week it'll be like 2, 3, 4. And then the next week I'll come to office and be like, okay, we have 5 more next week. And he's like, okay, now we have one with pregnant women only. And it's called Great Expectations. I'm like, what? And so anyway, next thing you know, we had 14 shelters in a month and 2,000 plus people. And he said, okay, Nanor, now I want you to start schools for these shelters. I'm like, what? And these kids haven't gone to school for I don't know how long. It was actually really sad. All these first graders had just started school. They were so excited. 5 days into school, boom, the war started. So for many first graders, they only went to school for 5 days. That's the story for many kids. So from that, Vahe made shelters and said, okay, now open schools. And so with the help of some other people who wrote the curriculum and designed the platform, we started recruiting volunteers. And next thing you know, we had 7 schools open in the month, I think, that we were working. These weren't legit schools, as if like we weren't doing state curriculum. They were all enrichment programs that went deep into STEM, English, arts, music, etc. So it was more for social emotional healing, along with hopefully getting some sort of knowledge.
Right.
Should I keep going? I feel like I've talked for a
well, first of all, yes, you're doing well. I want to spotlight and say thank you to the folks that have donated. We've raised already 200 for the Hidden Road Initiative. That's amazing.
Awesome.
Nanor, your story is always compelling. How you came in trying to do something else, and then obviously, just like the entire nation, got hit with something crazy, but you hit you hit the pavement immediately and started to essentially reinvent yourself in the hardest of times. With everything that went on, and obviously not to re-traumatize ourselves, we as Armenians have kind of understood what was dealt to us, what's happened. You have mentioned a lot of Artsakh families coming in, a lot of displaced folks. What is the current situation? To give us kind of more of a perspective of 3 months on, what is the current situation, and where do you feel like the needs lie, like front and center at the current moment?
It's hard to say. I think in terms of where families are, a lot of them went back, which is good. A lot who have homes, who are homes that are land that is ours and or homes that are not broken went back. Those who stayed behind are ones with maybe younger children who are scared to go back. A lot of people with the young children also went back, but there's a lot of families who are like, nope, I'm not going to go back. I've lived through 3 wars. I don't want my kids to see a 4th one. I'm not going to be surrounded by Turks. I'm not going to make my kids go through another of what I went through and what they already went through. So I know a lot of families like that who've just, even from Stepanakert, who've settled here, say, nope, we're going to just move forward. And, or we're so tired of uncertainty that I don't want to go back. I'm tired of not knowing if I can live. And my kids shouldn't see that. And then there's families who say, nope, that's our land. We're going to go. We're fully going to go with all our kids till we die. It doesn't matter. We will stay there. And many, many, many people, thousands have gone back. I would say majority probably. And then there's the people from Lachin and Shushi and Hadrut and Persor and all these other places who they're in the worst conditions, completely in the unknown, many with already fallen soldiers, many with missing soldiers, it's like a complete question mark what their future is. And I think for them, it's the hardest. And they are in all sorts of places and a lot of them, especially in Lachin or other places, are not very well off. So they're living in villages in Armenia, some of them. Shelters have closed, a lot of the shelters. So they've had to figure out, okay, what's next? Where do I find rent? Some have gone to Stepanakert from those families, but Stepanakert is full now. There's like no place to rent, so it's very hard for families to rent houses in Stepanakert because it's overcrowded. Yeah, so a lot of the families are in the unknown of we don't know what's next.
Yeah, and how do you get rent if you've lost your job, your income because it's gone? I mean, that's
and you left
layers on layers.
Yeah, like a lot of women I know, they're like, well, I left my, valuables because I thought we were just going for the night and coming back. But in terms of soldiers, there's a lot of help that needs there too. And I want to actually introduce my friend, Lori. Her and I work together in this kind of, well, it hasn't been registered NGO yet, but let me see here. So the lighting is better.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
This is Lauren Rajan from Glendale, right?
How are you?
I'll let her introduce herself, but we had started this Facebook page called Books for Armenian Soldiers during the war, which was to help bring books to soldiers and eventually change to other stuff. And I'll let Lori a little bit tell her journey of how she ended up coming from the States here during the war and what she's doing with me and soldiers now.
Perfect. Yeah, Lori, let us know. Nice to meet you. First of all, I'm Greg. This is Richard and David. We kind of, host Arach Media and are good, friends of Nanor from the Bay Area. So we are from the Bay Area. Richard is from Sacramento, and you, from what I understand, are from Glendale, and you've found yourself to Armenia. Let us know how that happened.
Yeah, so I actually got here after the war, end of November, and I tried to convince my family to let me come during the war, but I would have loved to be here. But as soon as the war was done, I was able to convince them and I was able to come. So we've been working with, as Nanor said, as far as soldiers, doing the books for Armenian soldiers. And we've been visiting the different hospitals, talking to the soldiers, giving them books, listening to all their stories. And besides that, I was also helping Nanor at the shelters with the teaching the children. And those are the 2 main curricular activities I've been busy with my time here. And
yeah, it's amazing to have her. We had in the Project Hope shelters, we had around 100 volunteers for Hidden Road and Project Hope. 100 from 6-7 countries, all the way from like Austria and India and China. I'm not joking. Armenians from China and the US, of course, and Austria and Switzerland and France, lots from Argentina. it's amazing. It's been amazing, the diaspora outpour during the war. I mean, everybody comes in the summer, and I think summer coming is easy, but during the war, it's been really, really brave, amazing people who had free time also, or took off time to come and help in the hospitals and then also just in the shelter. So Lori was one of them, but she's in the medical field, so we also work a lot in the hospitals.
Amazing.
Well, speaking, I want to follow up with a question because not only I've been following you, I've been following what you do with the books for Armenian soldiers in hospitals. Lori, can I ask you, like, what do you feel like? What is the effect of this initiative? Like, is it something that the soldiers take to? Because I most certainly saw the interaction. They enjoy, they understand. What is like kind of like the effects of this program on the soldiers that are rehabilitating and slowly trying to regain their sense of self back from a horrible incident? And these books, how are they affecting that?
So whenever the first couple of times I went inside the rooms, like introduced myself, like, hi, I'm Lori, I'm from Los Angeles. Different times, a lot of them, they said, you're from where? And I said, Los Angeles. And they're like, we're all trying to leave, and you're here all the way from Los Angeles bringing us books during like the worst time. So it was like very funny. It was like, no, of course, the diaspora standing right next to you guys. We're day and night just thinking about you guys, what we could do. We were here to say our thank you. And they're like, and it's just been such, besides the books, it's always like the dialogue that comes before handing the books, where it's like, wow, like, thank you. Like, my next door neighbor still hasn't came to like say thank you, and like, you're here representing the diaspora, you, Nanor, whoever the volunteers are of the day. And it's just like, for them it's unimaginable. For 44 days they saw the worst, and they were like, how do we get out of this? And then they see people from all over the world just pouring into their hospitals just to give them some books, to give them some art therapy, or like play the music for them. And it's just the gratefulness on their like faces, and the way they've been expressing it has just been, I mean, not that it matters, but it's just been so rewarding. And it's just like every morning I could go and sit there for hours with them. The books aside, the books is something small for them, because some of those hospitals don't even have TVs. Some of them, connection windows. So, and at first I was like, books, but then you also realize they're like, how excited a lot of them, not all of them, but let's say like, I would say about 90% are, when they see that you're bringing books, they're like, yes, like, of course, I would love to read. And it's just,
and I think for them, like she was saying, what I've noticed with the books and letters, the one thing that really, really helps social emotionally is that one-on-one connection. That's all they really want at the end of the day. So whether they're talking to us or we delivered a letter and left, and if there's an address in that letter, they love that connection. It's that connection, right? And human connection, when you're stuck in a hospital for God knows how many days or months for some of them, to have someone outside to write to, or to see a letter, or read a letter from them, or see a painting from a kid, which a lot of them just put on their walls later. Like, they love those. Or to talk to someone, whether a volunteer from here or the diaspora. It's that all like personal connection that really, really helps in those difficult times. So
Yeah.
it's been great.
Yeah. David.
Did you tell us the origin of the books for soldiers? I think it's a fun one, isn't it? Like, it's something on social.
Yeah, actually, the origin is right here. Hold on.
Hey, that's Coco.
Coco, come here.
Nice.
So
Coco's like, no.
was the reason Books for Armenian Soldiers started, because he's a dog from Korea. And let me.
Oh, wow.
Coco, hold on 1 second. Give me a second. Come here. He's eating his bone, so it's a hard time to get him. Okay. So this dog from Korea, he's a therapy dog. He didn't come like that. I think he's been through so much trauma that he just ended up being really calm and serving as a therapy dog. And so Coco is so calm that he has been working with kids in the US for a long time, and then just people that I've worked with for a long time. And so when the war started, I said, why don't we try taking Coco to the hospital and see if the soldiers would like it, or let me see if they even will accept him. I didn't think they would, because dogs in hospitals doesn't really work here. But I had a really, really nice doctor in Wigmore Hospital called Dr. Zavin. And he's very, advanced and just is always open to new ideas. He said, sure, come. So we went, and Coco sat on a soldier's hospital bed, and my God, that soldier was like loving Coco. And the doctors started loving Coco. And the next thing you know, I'm visiting all the hospital rooms. The next thing you know, the whole hospital is excited about Coco coming to hospitals. And then we
Right.
start going to more hospitals that allow Coco. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, let's do more than Coco. And so at that moment, I would just be talking to them and kind of just listening to their stories, like Lori was saying. And then I don't know, I think I was talking to my friend Talina Sadurian, who was like, Nanor, why don't you take books with you? And I said, I don't know if they're going to read, but sure, let's try. And so then she starts sending me books. And then next thing you know, Armenian women mostly were donating books in Armenia and letter. And the next thing we're like, you know what? Why don't you write a letter? And the next thing you know, lots of ladies started writing letters and the soldiers loved it. And then next thing you know, we also had musicians who said, oh, one day I was there and it was horrible, horrible. Like mentally, one of the soldiers was really suffering. We have a lot of guys who have amputated and, Lori will tell you some more of the medical issues and mental issues, of course. And one of the guys was just so much in pain. Two of his legs, there's these sticks coming out of them and just horrible stuff. And sometimes we'd get, while you're there, live people coming straight from the war, from the battle, basically from Artsakh, they would bring him straight with an ambulance. So all sort of horrible stuff. So this man was screaming in pain, yelling. And I quickly texted my friend Anna Mikhaelian, who's the head of Nexus Center in Armenia. I said, Anna, you got musicians? Can you send 2, please, right away? Send me any musicians you can. And so she quickly sends Sevana and Gore.
Yeah.
And, and oh my goodness, for weeks we played in hospitals, and then we went to Artsakh, and it just brought this, like, I don't know, it was beautiful. Those months I think were probably the best for me in terms of emotionally, because it just really helped having Sevana and Gore sing and bring music, and the soldiers would sing and they would join with guitars or drums, and then nurses would join or doctors would join. And so that's how it started, with Coco, then books, then letters, then music, and then artists came from France, so they brought art. And then we got more volunteers like Lori and then other hospital volunteers who said, I want to grow this. And now Books for Armenian Soldiers has been in 15, 20 more hospitals, maybe more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing work. I had a quick segue question. You mentioned Artsakh going there. Can I ask you, and we'll go back to the initiatives. Are you able to go to Artsakh if you needed to today or tomorrow if you had to? Is it possible to get to Artsakh right now?
Yeah, it is. Okay. Especially with the Armenian passport, but yes, it's open. I'm actually gonna most likely be there on Monday, God willing, if there's no snow and no violent attacks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. But regarding the books for soldiers, where do you see this going into the future? Like, if you were going to both you, Lori, what's the vision? What's the idea? How are you, and how can we help as well? Because it's important that the diaspora keeps chiming in and being your partner in this.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass this on to Lori, because my head is now more in Hidden Road Initiative and Children and Education. And Lori, she says she's in the medical field, has also great ideas for where she sees what's next for soldiers. So
please let us know.
Nanor and I were actually speaking yesterday, and I was saying, medical. So the one good thing that's the government has, from what in my opinion, has been doing is all of their medical expenses, whether they were a volunteer or they were, had to do their 2 years, they were a soldier, are all being covered. But the issue that I see is when they go back home, trying to adjust come back into society. I feel like a lot of soldiers are going to have a little bit of a hard time because they've lost, either if they're amputated or they're now disabled. So Nana and I were speaking, I was like, I want to start getting in touch with organizations that are working with these soldiers, since with books for Armenian soldiers, I went into so many different hospitals now, talked to so many different people. I feel like I could be a good resource and, see, are they making modifications? Some of these soldiers don't have an in-house, for example, bathroom. Like they have, and if you don't have legs, how are you going to squat outside? Or can you get from your outside to the inside of your house? Can you go up the stairs? Does your house have elevators? So all these small things that, and the most important is going to be the jobs, right? How are they going to come back into society and support the family? Because a lot of the injured boys are, very young. They were just going to start their career. So I think the next step for Books for Armenian Soldiers is going to be like someone like me, take the next step and work with organizations, see what are they doing for the soldiers, whether it's helping them find jobs, making modifications in their house, making sure that they're accepted into the society. We're going to have a lot of, the way I see it, we had a lot of deaths, but we also are going to have handicapped young
Yeah.
men.
So what I understand is there's like three prongs of issues that we as society will need to. Well, first of all, like I've worked in the contracting world, and ADA compliance is what you're talking about, right? Americans with Disabilities Act was something that
doesn't exist. Yeah, it
exactly.
does not.
No, and trust me, I'm born in Soviet Union. I know exactly. Just to give some of our viewers an understanding that places where like you live here, where there's something called ADA compliance, and it's very closely and harshly adhered to. But in some places in the outside world of United States and maybe Europe, if you're handicapped, you're stuck in your house, because literally when the next time you're walking down the street in a foreign world, right, and you look at the roads and they're like uneven, imagine a wheelchair going through that. So that's number one, right? I'm just trying to reiterate. Number two is the mental health and the stigma of what it means to be I don't want to say disabled, lesser able-bodied individual, right? And how we can kind of acclimate Armenian society to accept them, and to not only accept them, but to uplift them, right? And the third was what you actually meant is the actual, life with these disabilities, and how to, support them through not just donations, but also getting these boys into, and ladies, I'm assuming as well, into job programs to kind of continue the life, make sure that there's a future. Is that
So that's yes, I think
Yeah.
you captured that
Perfectly.
yeah, okay, that's a
for
lot.
the point 2 and 3 that you made. 3 was jobs and 2 was
Stigma,
mental. Okay, so
Yeah.
mental health and
Armenian
stigma.
Soldiers is actually partnering up with other or NGOs that deal with mental health and work with soldiers and veterans. One of the people that we're working with is the Armenian Mental Health Association, along with the veterans of Armenia, who have been really involved lately, and just pouring in support in terms of just from sending things to also now planning forward, what are we going to do with mental health? So we have these new initiatives that they're brainstorming. And then, and you actually, I'm surprised, but the stigma seems to not be as much stigmatized as before.
Yeah.
Like before, when you say, I want to talk to Hokepan, they're like, or a counselor, like what? Now it's like, no, many people are excited to talk to Hokepans, children included. And it's not as stigmatized. It's very, they call us Hokepans, even though we're not. And it's, they don't shy away because we come, and on the opposite, they're excited to talk. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's really good to hear, because that is really going to be important to our path forward, is to minimize or get rid of all the the mental obstacles to moving forward, and those are unnecessary. So.
And I think the society really helps here too, because it's so much more social here in terms of life. It's not, it's barely anyone lives alone or is isolated. And so the issues that our veterans face in America is a little different than how mentally our veterans face here. So that also naturally helps as well, that they're surrounded by community. That doesn't mean there's not huge mental health issues that are not fixed or given attention to. Like one hospital we work in, it's horrible. It's like a mental health ward. It is embarrassing how bad it is for our soldiers. I mean, it is 60 soldiers crammed in this like 2-story tiny house with barely any windows, 6-7 soldiers in a room, bunk beds, and the hallways. There's so many soldiers. And it's just like, if you're not even crazy and you went there, you become crazy because of how horrible the conditions are. So our government needs to do a better job of these, obviously allocating more money for these kind of
Yeah.
hospitals. That's for sure.
Mhm.
So that's, I mean, the funny thing is that being from that region, growing up in the Soviet times, I do understand what those institutions look like and what they are. It's not the way that things are done here, and it's unfortunately, yeah, that's a systemic change that needs to happen, and hopefully it can happen, and hopefully the diaspora can help it push along. Lori, question for you is how, like, the initiative, does it have a Facebook page? How do we continue staying in touch with this organization? How do we continue supporting it? How do we continue at least just being engaged? Okay, what's the best way for our audience, for us, for me in particular? I'm very curious.
So I think we're most active on our Instagram page. We're actually
Okay.
visiting a hospital in a couple of hours. So we'll be posting pictures and everything there. It's Books for Armenian Soldiers on Instagram.
Okay, Books for Armenian Soldiers, got it. Okay.
No, I think our primary, you could follow us primarily on Instagram. Yeah.
And then for letters, when I was in the States, I brought back like about 100 letters. It was wonderful. So for those of you listening in America,
Yeah.
if you want to write handwritten letters, you can also see on Books for Armenian Soldiers where to send it in the States. But if you want it to go right away, you can email it to Books for Armenian Soldiers, which is on Instagram also, and then we'll print it and deliver. And they love it, especially if you feel comfortable to include some kind of contact info.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
But
Quick,
if
quick,
I wanna
quick
tell
question
you-
for, there was a quick question from the audience to the initiative. Are the soldiers okay, and would this be something you might think of, maybe expanding to like maybe live conversations, like FaceTime or something like that? Would that be possible? Is it something that might be kind of connecting diasporans, those willing and interested? It was something that I believe Adis wrote down on our comment. I just wanted to ask.
Depends.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I did it a few times with my personal friends. They actually instigated. They're like, let's FaceTime America. Let's say hi to the Americans,
Okay.
like your friends. And some of them are very social, and some of them, yeah, they're very short with you. So it just depends on the person, the room they're in, how comfortable the people, because most of them share a room with other people. So yeah, maybe we can do like
can
on the
try.
Instagram of Books for Armenian
That's a good
Soldiers. Yeah.
idea. And one of them that Lori visited last week, oh my goodness, 5 guys who, beautiful story, you might have heard it on the news, who survived being hidden in Hadrut for how long?
Yeah.
They said 70 days, which I didn't understand because it hasn't been 70 days since the war's over. But I guess even during the war, they had left their initial posts, and we're on the. I'm not too sure how it works on the front line. And when the war ended, when they turned back, I guess all the boys, their commander, weren't there. They probably thought like they were, gone.
Amazing 5 men, amazing how they survived. They came back. Anyway, they got some books and letters, but unbelievable.
Yeah, we reported on them. That's an amazing story of survival on their part. They're heroes. It's amazing. Yeah, this is really so great, the work you guys are doing. We're gonna share the links to Books for Armenian Soldiers. Nanor, tell us about. Well, I guess now would be a good time. Sorry, thank you, Richard. There's for Facebook and on Instagram. I know you mentioned Instagram is really the best way.
Here's the actual website at hiddenroadinitiative.org.
Yeah. Now, Nanor, you can introduce this. Hidden Road is something that we've come to know here in the Bay Area because you've been involved with this for a while now, right? This is something you started a long way back. Walk us through what it is and what you do.
Let's finish up Books for Armenian Soldiers.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind checking it on Instagram, and then we'll transition to Hidden Road because I want to make sure they're separate. So if you want to donate for soldiers, contact Books for Armenian Soldiers, because Hidden Road is not soldiers. Hidden Road is kids. So Books for Armenian Soldiers is solely about the soldiers, for the soldiers. Donations here would specifically just go for purchasing more books, art supplies, and any other resources needed for those kind of activities. but we don't do, let's say, one-on-one soldier support, or
Mhm.
if you want to do those kind of supports, Armenian Wounded Hero Project, Guardian Eagles, Veterans of Armenia, even Miasin, my friend's organization, who does one-on-one sponsorships. What other soldier? There's so many, but I think those are the
Yeah.
main ones. Wounded Hero Project, I said. Yeah. So those are the main ones that support one-on-one directly soldiers. What we do with Books for Armenians, we do more, like I said, books, letters, therapy, or finding therapists to come in if there isn't already. And then lots of art, artists come to do work. So it doesn't have it doesn't have big funding needs at the moment. So please don't go pour in your money on it, because I'm sure other organizations that support one-on-one, the soldiers could also really benefit from funding. So I wanted to be honest with that and
Perfect.
tell you.
No.
And now let's segue to the Hidden Road Initiative, just to kind
Yeah,
of
and
highlight.
Hidden Road
outline.
Initiative is focused on children, specifically in hidden villages.
Mhm.
And currently, specifically, we work in Vartanis and Shivanitsor. So basically, two border regions. One of them is by Azerbaijan, by Vartanis, and the other one is on the southern border by Iran and Mehri. So what we do is if you can go back up for the project, we had a holiday backpack drive, which I know many of you supported already. Thank you. But we are sending those, excuse me, I am personally taking and delivering them next week to Mardagerd, which is a northern region in Artsakh.
Okay.
Scholarships is the next one you can kind of like not click on, but maybe just put your mouse on. So we provide scholarships for every single kid from the village who wants to go to university. So if you click on 2021, you'll see our current scholars currently looking for funding for their second semester donors, and that's what we're going to do. Tanya, that first student, actually was a soldier herself. She went to participate in this class war. Crazy girl, came back alive, thank God. And a lot of our students actually also participated. So a lot of them didn't do first semester and just are going to do second semester. So this is our Hidden Road Initiative scholarship program. And then the thing that we work the most on is our English learning program, which if you go to our Facebook, there's some really interesting things you can see there.
Okay, so.
So go up to Facebook and type in Hidden.
Yeah.
No.
So one thing that we're currently doing, besides teaching the kids from Artsakh in person, we are teaching online. So we started this back in the summer. And when they were here in the war, of course, we taught in person. And now that everybody's kind of all over, we're going back to doing online work. And we pair each student from the village, or Artsakh now as well, with a teacher from the diaspora or Armenia. And they do one-on-one English classes once a week together, and then once a week on their own. So some of them actually do 5 times a week. It's depending on the teacher. So if you go to videos here, once it loads in a second, I'll show you some.
I don't know. It's giving me a hard time right now for some reason.
No worries.
That's great. Okay.
The link is actually on the link to your page is actually on the post caption for this video. But
so if any of you want to teach English, you're welcome to apply and click on Hidden Road Initiative, and you'll see how to apply to teach English. We currently have about 70 students and 70 teachers, because again, it's a one-on-one pairing. So it's huge. It's grown from our tiny summer project, which started in July, to so many people wanting to teach, and so many kids from Artsakh and the villages who want to say, I want to join and learn English too. And we've seen huge growth in the learning of the language, which will help them a lot get jobs, awesome. College, etc. So
phenomenal work. Yeah.
Lori's one of our in-person English teachers who goes into the shelter and teaches still once a week. So very great.
It's amazing.
Amazing work.
No, amazing work. Can't thank you enough. I mean, it's something that we need to continue building on. And by the way, $300 raised for Hidden Road Initiative right now while we're speaking. So thank you to everyone that's doing that. More, of course, is needed, but your money is definitely going to the right organizations. I have a couple of questions while we have you. People in Armenia. What is how is the current situation in terms of the outlook on the economy and things moving forward look like. There was a one thing that you mentioned that kind of always I'm very in tune to and a little bit worried. And as a matter of fact, you know, I'm in winemaking. I want to invest in Armenia and will be doing that. And that is in specifically that the desire to leave currently. You mentioned you were talking to a soldier and says, "Hey, you came here, Lori. You mentioned that, and I'm trying to leave." How front and center that is, and I understand sometimes we don't want to talk about some of the negative aspects, right? But clearly, this is a hurdle that we as a diaspora need to hear about and need to understand how we can kind of alleviate that. Do you, in your understanding, like what is the outlook and how front and center is the desire to kind of escape currently? Not, you know, not the best of topics, but something I want to hear about.
But important.
Yeah. I'll be short, but I'll give my honest, what I've been seeing. 2018, every taxi I sat in said, "This is your homeland. Why are you not here?" 2020, they're like, "How do I get out of here?" Like, you know, it's back to that, you know,
Yeah.
10 years ago when they would ask you to put in your name for a green card, you know, what, we're hopeless about this place. But the way I'm thinking about it is, and this might be very like I'm romanticizing it maybe in my head, but I think this was like the wake up call for the diaspora. Like,
Mhm.
I think we've been sleeping, and this is our wake up call because, and I think it like in a lot of diasporans it did get enlightened where it shook us, you know, it shook us to the core, to the point where, Greg, you know, you said you're gonna invest in Armenia. Like, I think because of what happened this year, maybe you'll make it even quicker.
Yeah.
So if we don't step in, we really might have like an economy that drops to, I don't know how it works, but somewhere where we won't be able to come back from. So the way I see it is the people here have lost hope, but I think the diaspora needs to come in, and I haven't lost hope. Nanor hasn't lost hope, or else we'd be back on the flight like tomorrow morning. So I think it's our turn, you know, it's our turn
Yeah,
to.
and as a matter of fact, there was a kind of like a setup question. Obviously, having a lot of cousins in Armenia, part of your answer I knew, but I think our listeners and the diaspora needs to constantly hear that. Okay, that it is our turn right now to kind of weigh in.
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty. It's important to hear this.
um I think for, like she was saying, the last at least 2, 3, 4 years, there was this like burst of like growth and
Mhm.
hope and excitement for future. We're moving forward, etc. And you really, I mean, as someone who's come here every single summer for 11 years, I've seen that change from 2009, where a lot of things were more, oh, we have to wait for it to happen to us, to no, we will take care of it ourselves. We got it. We're the youth. We can do this. We're moving forward with this new tech country, tourism pouring in. And then I feel like this year just kind of like took us so many years
Yeah.
back, where we're like distributing food and clothes, kind of like in the Soviet, like right after the collapse or the earthquake. And
Mhm.
people, and I am also most worried personally as someone who's in the nonprofit world. I'm very conscious of how aid gets distributed, because I think sometimes that can also be harmful.
Mhm.
I'm seeing how that like sense of helplessness and, oh, help me, help me, help me, is growing to a point where getting aid instead of becoming necessary is becoming like harmful, because people are getting used to the mentality, oh, well, I'll just wait for it to come.
Yeah.
Now, of course, during the war, that was important, and some you need food and clothing and shelter to survive.
Mhm.
But it's been 4 months now, and the war is over. The question of how now what is very important for NGOs or even people who support people to consider is, how do you support? Is providing monthly money to people for how long? Is that helpful? After what point does that become
Yeah,
enable
I totally understand. I understand.
enable helplessness, and get Armenia used to the whole back old mentality of, well, I'll just wait for the money from diaspora.
Let me
And
ask you this then. Let me
I'm
ask you this. What do you think the current government's role? I mean, what's the temperature like in terms of what? How do I put this? What do you see? And I don't know if this is something you can answer, but I'm hoping that you can try. Which is, what do you think the pulse is on the ground in terms of the view of the current government's response, or And the other part of that question would be, do you think the NGOs, are they doing a good enough job in trying to facilitate the change between the gimme, 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 or I need help to creating a more self-sustaining, populace?
It's too soon to say. I mean, I think we're still in the whole aid
Right.
zone because people still are looking for housing and there's so much uncertainty.
For sure.
So I think
For sure.
too
And
soon.
I don't mean to portray it as give me like it's
Yeah, no, I
undue,
think
but
right.
I mean, to your point, I mean, if we need to move away from the helpless to the to the enabled, is the current government doing enough to help make that transition?
I don't speak for government, so I can't say, but I know many NGOs are creating job opportunities. For example, Vahe, when he started Project Hope, it was all shelters, food aid. Now his whole focus is on factories. He's built about
Excellent.
2 small factories with sewing machines where all the women are employed and can make money making vests, beautiful vests and coats, which I'll share with you another day.
Awesome.
Maybe a factory for soldiers. One Armenia is also investing in rehab centers and job centers. And so, yes, there is a huge shift for NGOs to move in that direction of creating jobs, which is, I think, where investments should go in: employment, and in my opinion, also education, because it's the beginning of that.
Which leads me to one more thing. Again, I try to always have a conversation with the audience, and before we shouldn't go too long. Is also important, the front and center importance of continue buying Armenian. We had this whole November, December, blah blah blah. I hope that our Armenian listeners, our diaspora and friends of our Armenian communities listening understand how important this buy Armenian mentality is. I know that we've switched to buying a lot of things only Armenian in terms of gifts, whatever it is, however we can, because there's actual on the ground results, and also the products are quality. From their
and jackets and gifts and like so many things you could buy online and they'll be shipped in 2 weeks. So
And I'd like to piggyback on that. There's this, I think in America at least, there's this, well, I ordered it on Amazon, it should be here in a day or two mentality, and people get hung up on the fact that well, this is coming from Armenia. It's gonna take a while to get here. Like, relax, take a breath. You're helping out the homeland. So I would just offer that up as an important lens to see it through.
So
Great stuff, guys. I just want to say that I think the hope lies in the work of organizations like Hidden Road and Books for Armenian Soldiers and the work you guys are doing. I think that's where the hope lies. And I think the work you guys are doing should be an inspiration to everyone out there and all the diaspora to do more, to contribute as much as you can to supporting organizations, whether it's lending talent or your knowledge or providing financial assistance. There's many ways people can be helping. So great work, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us.
In a month, when we should chat, Lori and I, God willing, we've decided to live in a village for about a month.
Wow.
To really bring this English program in, like establish it, a learning center and that whole English program on a bigger level. So we'll talk to you maybe in a month from a village to see.
That'd be amazing. We'll take you up on it, because which village, if you don't mind, or if that's a secret, that's okay.
So we're gonna try it. We'll see. We're trying to establish that dream of starting little centers and hopefully jobs as well. So
amazing. Nanor, Lori, thank you so much. You guys are doing God's work. The donations, thank you to everybody that has donated. I think we're like over $400 for this episode.
$5
for Hidden Road. Thank you to everyone that's donated. Continue donating. Reach out to Lori and to Nanor, independent of Arach Media, or if you need us to get you in touch with these amazing people on the ground, let us know. We will definitely make the best of connecting you to the source of the initiatives. David, Rich, I'm in awe, and I'm kind of don't want to say goodbye, but I mean, obviously we'll say farewell to see you next in the village when you reach there.
Yeah, we're very proud. Great work.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that, It's a testament to your commitment to the nation, to run towards something when so many people want to run away, and to make that such a long-term. Oh, look at that cutie face.
Yeah.
To be able to pivot from one thing to another and have that evolve and grow and catch on the way that it has is really remarkable. And so I just, I bravo, well done.
Yeah.
Well, don't just say bravo. We need you guys. So you guys.
No, we're gonna keep going.
We're gonna come. We need everyone here. Everyone.
I'll let you know. I want to do that. I want to be there. I miss it, and I want to help there. So I think we all do. We all do.
And we will. And I know more and more people are talking about going. And this time, so there was the initial I gotta go now people, right? In November and October. Lori, I feel like you're one of them. And I think in the next few months, it's going to be more people with a little bit more different calculations. Like, I know I want to come and I want to invest, and I'm looking to understand how I can do that, faster and better. So obviously in my industry, and we can do that amongst our individual industries as well. So
We're up to
you can also outsource jobs here. Like, there's so many people who can work online to your company from here. It's not that hard to set it up for taxes. I know so many orgs doing it. So keep hiring from here. A lot of people need jobs, and soldiers can do it too.
absolutely.
Amazing.
Amputated or whatever, they can sit on a computer and work. So
Excellent.
all right, well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate this.
Plus, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. We hope we see you in
Thank guys.
Armenia.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Be safe. Coco,
Yeah.
Coco needs an Instagram page. I think we got that's the one.
Travels the world.
Thank
He has one.
Okay.
Easy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye
guys.
bye.
Have a
Bye.
wonderful day. Thank you. Bye, guys. Cool.
Wow, that was amazing.
That was amazing. That was
Amazing.
phenomenal.
Amazing
So
work.
happy that we had him on. Obviously, we all know what they do. We've seen Nanor. There's so much thoughts in my head right now.
She's an inspiration. It's amazing the work she's doing there, and how she's mobilized so many people as well to work with her on these projects. It's just amazing work.
So I know, gentlemen, I know that I know we're 5 minutes beyond, but I just want to level set for a second. I know that we took last week off, and I know that there's been a whole lot of developments in the past couple of weeks that could be its own hour-long show.
Yeah.
But rather than go through all that with everybody, I think what we're going to try and do, with your consent, of course, is to make sure that all the links that we've culled together to make sure that we can talk about, we're just going to go ahead and put up on the feed. But there is something important that we do want to touch on, and that is, that there's some legislation going on in the Capitol right now, and we need your help.
Yeah.
To help.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to talk about that, I'll begin to pull it up.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, Rich, you just touched on a really important point. There's a new administration and there's a new Congress, and so we need to start now. Actually, we should have started months ago, but it's okay. They're in place now, and so we need to be reaching out and contacting the Biden administration and our congressional representatives to make sure they are hearing from us and our expression of the importance of the need to support Armenian and Artsakh now and ongoing. So these organizations, the Armenian Assembly and the ANC, Armenian National Committee, have made it very simple. Click the links. It's on our link tree as well.
Which is right here. We have our link tree, and we'll make sure that it's up there. We definitely encourage you to look through here and
here, I'll make an example. Yesterday, when I saw that flash come through my newsfeed, I was getting out of bed, about to do my thing, start my day, and check my newsfeed. Saw that is a front and center, an important action item. Actually, it came through my email because I'm what is it called, a fast responder now with the ANCA and Armenian Assembly. Immediately, it turns on. Write an email to your member of Congress. Mine is Jerry McNerney. Jerry, if you hear me, you better do something. So immediately did that. Then it went to Twitter. send a tweet to your congressman, and if you have time, give him a call and do a voicemail. And I
But
did
that's the
all
most
those.
important thing. I mean,
Yeah, I did
Yes.
all those three. Voicemail was the most important thing. I did all those three, friends, in less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
It wasn't something I was planning on doing, but that's just a mindset of like, an active Armenian, trying to make sure that there's, that there's pressure on the new administration. Okay.
We have.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
And all those people who think, well, I don't know that my voice is going to help. That doesn't really matter. Just remember that one or two or three or four of us, it all begins to add up, and we have a chorus of people. And I know that you may think, well, they got so many other things to do. They're putting together, but they are right now trying to figure out what is the most important thing for the American people. And if the American diaspora, the Armenian American diaspora, are putting pressure on them, they're going to prioritize that. We already know that the Biden administration has brought in a couple of Armenian folks into the cabinet or into the administration, and
Right.
we need to keep that full court press going, because that's the only way that we're going to get any action is to keep ourselves in top of mind, for them. So make the
Exactly.
call more than anything else. Make the phone call.
Yeah. Call, email, tweet. That's the order of priority. And tomorrow, if you could do it by tomorrow, that's going to be the best, because the Congressional Caucus, the Armenian Congressional Caucus is working on a letter that they're going to send to the Biden administration, expressing the need for the priorities to support Armenian and Artsakh. So it's very important, guys. Well said.
And friends, let's please drop the bipartisan BS. Okay, this is not a left right. I don't like Biden. I don't like Trump thing.
Right.
It's a need thing.
Right.
You all know where I stand politically, but when Trump was in office, I nevertheless did every one of these items. And when Biden's in office, I'm going to continue doing that. And when whoever else is in office next, I'm going to continue doing that, because we have a nation that needs help. And I'm very thankful for Lori and Nanor for staying positive and a little bit apolitical, because there's a lot to say in terms of what's going on in Armenia on the ground, in terms of politics, in terms of geopolitics, and in terms of an existential threat to the continuation of that country. So if you are in the diaspora, please stop the in-between bickering that has now plagued the entire diasporan web of communities.
That's right.
It is embarrassing to your future children, your current children, and folks in the future that are going to ask, Mom, Dad, what did you do in this moment in time? You're not going to be able to be like, well, you know what? I stood my ground and I bickered. So please, buy Armenian, urge Congress to do the right thing, and make sure that Armenia understands that you are behind them, because it's,
The
it's-
last thing I will say is that we vote every day with our actions and with our dollars. So decide how you want to vote every day, and it's that simple. So
I'll tell you this, there has not been a single gift that me, my sister, my family bought in December that was not from these Armenian businesses. And you know what? There hasn't been a single like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. As a matter of fact, they were much more interesting. They were much more creative, and everybody that got them appreciated them that much more.
That's
So
right.
whether it's books from AGBU bookstore, whether it's Etsy stores that have Armenian artists directly connected to them, whether it's a plethora, Ararat box has become a very popular thing. It does not matter. Choose your flavor. I'm an Armenian winemaker. I constantly advocate for Armenian winemakers in Armenia. Whatever your choosing is, there's so much out there. Can't buy an Armenian car yet, but maybe one day. So
maybe it'll be a flying car.
exactly.
Right.
All right,
Great.
man. Love
Thank
you
you,
all,
man.
guys. I know we had a lot planned and a lot to talk
No.
about, but I think the conversation we had with Nanor and Lori was, front and center and amazing. I thank the two of you for this episode. It was well done.
Yeah, we have
Well-
phenomenal guests, and it was important. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. So for those of you who are wondering, we're going to have all these links soon enough. We're going to put them all in this feed for this particular episode. You can catch us live on Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Pacific time. We'll do our best to get promotion out early. David's been doing a wonderful job in getting the emails out. So pay attention to your emails, please. Again, around 9 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays, and we're going to do our best to recap the news and to do as good interviews as we can possibly get for you. So
yeah, thank you, Rich. Regarding the email, people can sign up to for the email on the email list from our Facebook page. There's an email sign up button. If you are not on our list already there, we send out action items and donation links and things as well. So thank you, Rich. Yeah.
Thank you.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's a wrap for today. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
Take care.
Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Good night, everyone.